Good morning friends, Sat Sri Akal, Adab. This is my third video in continuation as a tribute to those people who have been not just my support, who have been pillars to this association. Today I'll be talking to a man called Mr. Sunil Ahuja, who was a very educated person, was an IAS officer, and retired as the Chief Secretary Haryana. I remember in 2008 when we first visited Mr. Vikas Sood in Kasauli, I made a call to Mr. Sunil Ahuja, but unfortunately or fortunately, till 2011 we were unable to be in touch with him. But we were in touch with him on WhatsApp, on his mail, and we kept trying because my motto has always been never given. Finally, we had our convention in 2012. Till then, we were not face to face in meeting. But guess, a man of his stature and repute, who was my senior from school, Lawrence School, Sanawar, came to my defense colony house in 2012 in December. And we finally met. I would like you all to listen what he said. He used to simply say, Mr. Das, after reading so many mails of yours, seeing so many judgments, data which you keep uploading, I now somewhere feel that there is material. And we can address this material to the new government. So by 2015, because of his executive and administrative acumen, and I think he was a senior to the Raksha Raja Mantri, who was also a Sanawar Rao Inderjeet Singh. 2015, our meeting finally happened. And with a very highly profiled bungalow owner, either Mr. Robin Grewal of Kasauli. Now, how STR is calculated or is to be calculated, listen to what Mr. Ahuja is speaking.
The point I am making is,
Ji sir.
Let us say, for argument's sake,
Ji.
that the Land Acquisition Act applies. I say purely for argument's sake. Or let us say that I am not within the cantonment and therefore the Land Acquisition Act applies. Which court, right up to the Supreme Court,
Ji sir.
is going to give me 44 crores for this property?
Nobody.
Okay, madam, the land acquisition collector gives me something or the other, I challenge it in the High Court and ultimately in the Supreme Court and I get an enhanced compensation.
Sure.
Your STR may be in line with that. How can it be about 20 times higher?
He understood how to put forward any policy or to draft a policy for an executive or an IAS officer who's sitting as a defense secretary. Because of his own acumen, he said, Mr. Das, let's draft a policy for freehold rights of these cantonment lands within the boundary pillars. So let's cut some dates. Listen to what he's saying.
That you understand the implications for yourself. If you, even without your sending anybody a resumption notice, if any petitioner today goes, the moment you publish this STR, this whole policy, he goes in a writ petition to the Supreme Court and says, this is all balls. Are they mad? How can the STR for something which has been in the possession of a man for the last 100 years be more than the Land Acquisition Act?
Simple.
And not just a little bit more.
10 times.
More than 10 times. Your Honour, I have nothing further to say. I rest my case. The judge is going to be a little dumbfounded. He'll say, is this true? Is this what you have produced by way of an STR? You must be mad. That's where the matter ends.
So he gave us some cut dates. He says, let's identify those bungalow owners who are prior to independence and who are after independence, but till 1960, when actually the constitution came in. And then from 1960 to, let's presume it, to 1980, or could be till date. So these three cut dates, he says, how money will be given in for these lands or to the Ministry of Defence for ownership rights or proprietary rights. Listen to what he is saying.
Further,
Sir.
it's a judgment that I have quoted several times when striking down the orders of collectors in the Haryana Ceilings Act, the Punjab Ceilings Act, where the collector, as per section, I forget what now,
12.
used his discretion.
Discretion.
Because the word
To pay.
discretion has been used in the section, the collector's discretion. And things were done in a very arbitrary manner.
Absolutely right, sir.
Justice Punchi, later Chief Justice of the Supreme Court,
Ji,
the
ji.
late Punchi,
Yes.
he passed a landmark judgment
On this very topic only.
on the question of discretion. He said discretion, these are his words, is not limitless.
Okay.
Limitless discretion
Acha. This.
is autocratic.
Okay.
Discretion has to be reasonable and within certain bounds.
Oh. I'll ask his son-in-law, Paman. Acha. He's a Sanawar also.
And every commissioner, financial commissioner that I know of,
Would be working on that judgment
no lawyers would produce this judgment
at the time of discretion.
in front of him and say, sir, read this.
Read this, para. I got one. I'll just get it out. I have the dongle right now. And I'll get
ठीक है
it.
ना?
ठीक है.
Discretion doesn't mean that you're a Mughal Badshah. You can say कि जी मैंने फलानी जमीन जो है वो जब्त कर ली, फलाने को कत्ल करवा दिया. That's not discretion.
That's not discretion.
You can't do that. This argument crops up
Sir.
if the court tries to escape its responsibility.
And even if Nirmala says valuation.
No, very often it happens.
Ji.
The court, when it feels like interfering, it does.
And when it doesn't.
And then we say it is judicial overreach.
Very true.
It doesn't feel like interfering. It says this is within the domain of the executive.
Yeah, I got on. They leave it to the executive.
Now, they can turn around and say, okay, bhai, what the STR is and is not within our domain. It is within the domain of the executive. Let the defense ministry do what it has to do because it's their subject, not our subject.
But 10 times of the STR.
Then the counter argument is, sir, it cannot do what it likes to do. There are parameters to discretion, as has been laid down.
But then this comes. Fine.
We discussed this matter in length with Rao Ji in June 2015, once in the Parliament House, one when he was in Kasauli. And we wanted this policy because at that very moment, S.K. Bose committee was formulated. And Mr. Bose was a subordinate or a part of Mr. Ahuja's IS lobby. So he was very easy to put a meeting for me with Mr. S.K. Bose. Now listen what Mr. Ahuja is finally saying.
तो मैं 25,000 करोड़ को तलाश करते हुए 10,000 भी नहीं मिलेंगे.
नहीं मिलते सर. वो बंगलो पूना बॉम्बे के ही ले जाएंगे अपना पास.
उल्टा लोग कहेंगे कि भाई आप
पिक एंड चूज में ये फ्री होल्ड कर देंगे.
नहीं, therefore I am saying कि जी कोई तो पैमाना होना चाहिए, कोई आधार के ऊपर चलो. ये आधार ये हो कि 47 से पहले और जितना पुराना वो कब्जा चलता आ रहा है, किसी फैमिली का 19वीं शताब्दी
से पोजेशन है,
मेरा 19वीं शताब्दी से नहीं है. माय फादर परचेज्ड दिस प्रॉपर्टी इन 1938.
Good enough, sir.
But the fact of the matter is
90 years to begin with today.
exactly, the fact of the matter is that in the old title deeds dating back to 1880,
वो जो आपके पास हैं,
the reading
I know,
free from all encumbrance,
I know, I'll give you those TPA पे,
is as if the property is freehold. And it is with all those conditionalities that it was purchased.
very true,
And the whole question of admission deed
came up in 1938.
only came up in 1938, which my father purchased this in my mother's name, which he asked her to sign because he was then serving on the Burma front.
You told me that.
And he said, woman, get on with it. So,
Friends, I would once again pay my respect and tribute to this man, Mr. Sunil Ahuja, who was finally not just my support, the trust he showed in me, that I even was taken by him. I was appointed as a consultant for him because he was catching age. He was, even after cancer being declared, the kind of support and the kind of willingness he showed to me, I've yet to come across a man like him. So we discussed everything. And he is one owner who is prior to independence. So friends, I pay my respect to this man, Mr. Sunil Ahuja. And once again I say that we people are old grant bungalows or properties, never converted into freehold or new grants. Why? Because the Britishers knew that we were revenue free grants, and never ever from 1765 to 1719 or to the last 1859, they converted our properties into new British grants. My request, please join hands with your neighbor. Talk to him, bring him on the platform. Thank you. Good day.